Welcome to BIA, Canada's top black media provider. Whether you're looking for shows on fashion, art, music, or simple lifestyle, we bring you the best content the black community in Canada has to offer and so much more. And better yet, do you have an idea for a project you'd like us to help you with? We provide equipment, studio, and office space, as well as a team of dedicated individuals to help you bring those ideas to life. So don't wait. Check out our new website at biamedia.ca for more information on how to contact us and start creating today. BIA Media, your way.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first show of In the Black, Getting Black to Business, where we celebrate our melanated merchants and we get to get insight into their businesses, learn more about what drives them to succeed, and and help other business owners understand what the challenges might be and how to get around that. So we are stronger together. So we're going to get black to business. My name is Grantley Othniel Adams, and I am the president of Live Lending Group, Canada's premier #1 platform for unsecured commercial lending. And today, I've got a special guest on the show today, right? And I just want to give a shout out to BIA Media for allowing us and giving us this platform to be able to celebrate our melanated merchants. So let's get black to business. Okay. Now, if you live in the Outaouais area, okay, and you're looking for an esthetician or a clinic or a spa, I've got one of the premier people that own, and she is the Empress of Wellness. Okay, they do a bunch of different services, aesthetic, medical grade, laser hair removal, body sculpting, spider vein removal, Oxygenio 3-in-1 super facials if you need some of that, and ready medical boosters, topical healing solutions. She's even creating her own body butters now. And she's been in the medical industry for a long time now. And if you know who I'm talking about, or if you don't know who I'm talking about, it is Moureen Ambwala.
Hello. Hey there.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Oh my gosh, I'm just happy to be here with you and be talking to more business owners. I do this all day, but you know, I've spoken to you briefly before, and I'm so happy to even present you now, and so you can tell the world about your business and how things are going with you. So yeah, how are you?
You know what? I can't complain. Well, other than the weather, everything else is good. I don't think I was ready for summer to be over yet, but we're in Canada, unfortunately. But winter is coming. Other than that, everything else is doing great.
Yeah. So I briefly spoke about Mahaba Wellness, and it says to revitalize your inner beauty, right? So
Yes.
Can you explain to us more about this business and what is Mahaba Wellness?
So Mahaba, in its natural sense, and Swahili means deeply in love, like the head over heels kind of love. You understand?
Yeah.
I find that a lot of young ladies in today's generation don't have that self-love, don't have that, inner peace with themselves, having discovered themselves. They don't give themselves a chance. They just like to, for lack of better term, see themselves through other people's eyes. So then comes in the revitalize your inner beauty and come fall in love with yourself. So my business, what it does, we do laser hair removal, acne treatments, like you already mentioned there, teeth whitening, Oxygenio 3-in-1 super facials. We have spider vein removals, body contouring, skin tightening, and all that.
So everything.
Getting there, almost everything.
Wow. Amazing. And you brought up a really good point, because I think that imaging right now is extremely important, because they say about social media, and women and young women are seeing themselves and seeing other people, and they're kind of comparing themselves. And self-care is a very important part of mental wellness too as well. So I think, yeah, you take care of the physical, but the mental, it's also mental too as well, right?
Precisely. It
Yeah.
is, we need to take, and if it's not just the women in general, but it goes deeper.
Mhm.
Me as a Black woman, I've grown up watching my mom do everything for everyone else. She barely ever took any time for herself.
Yeah.
We tend to neglect ourselves the older we get, the more responsibilities we have.
Mhm.
It's just go, 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 go. So I like to present people with the opportunity to come in and unload first for a moment, then we get into the treatments, we get to talk. I get I feel like sometimes I feel like it's a counseling session while I'm at it.
Yeah.
So, and that's the best part of it. So it's really nice when I get to see people come in, and not just women, people, I see people of all genders,
Yeah.
and they come in, they get to unload, unstress, and have their treatments done and leave happy
Mhm.
and with a certain weight lifted off their shoulders.
Hmm. And that's amazing too. You bring up a good point because I mean I just automatically ran to okay, young women, but men are taking part of your services too. I think on your website, which is sorry, can you just the pronunciation? I said Mahaba, but it's not. What is it?
It is Mahaba.
Oh, Mahaba Wellness
Yeah.
Services.com. And so anybody, if you're listening right now, you can check it out, Mahaba Wellness Services.com. But I do see that you have men, you have some laser hair removal for men. Okay,
Yeah,
so
all the services cater to guys as well. So same thing with the facials. I know some men think, we can't do facials. It's not manly,
yeah,
but it's your skin. You're taking care of your skin, and we live in a place where the weather is very harsh
yeah.
on our skin texture, on us as a whole.
Mhm.
So you get to take care of that, and you get to lie down and relax. Enjoy yourself a little bit, have a
Yeah,
few laughs.
yeah, amazing. And can I ask you a question? How did you get into this? What drove you into this industry?
Funny enough, I was going to do this in Kenya. I'm from Kenya, and I was always taught. For years, I'd been talking to my sister about starting something like this back home, because before I had my daughter, my plan was to move back.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was to move back, and we were gonna do this over there. We're very much into, self-care, self-appreciation, self-awareness as a whole. So we were going to do this back home, but then I had my daughter. She got integrated into the Canadian lifestyle.
Yeah.
She gets heat rashes, so sometimes I'm scared to take her into anywhere where it's too hot.
Yeah. Wow.
So I said, you know what, why not start it here?
Mhm.
It was years in the making, took a lot of research, and I said, you know what, this is the time. The pandemic did provide me an opportunity to do so,
Yeah.
because I had time to actually stop everything else that I was doing and just focus on what I really
Yeah.
wanted to do and where I envisioned myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I said, rather than thinking about it, I've been thinking about it for so long and writing things down and reading, just get into it and start it.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And when you talked about wanting to start this in Kenya, what would you say in terms of like the economical climate? Like, would it be easier to do it there? Would you think it could be more lucrative? Is there more opportunity to expand doing it in Kenya as opposed to doing it in Canada?
Yes. First of all, it's back home.
Yeah.
There's more people in Kenya than there are in Canada. Starting
Oh,
with that.
okay. See?
Canada is a very big place with very little
Concentrate.
population.
Yeah.
So, and then we also have the tourism factor in Kenya,
Oh, that's
right?
true.
A lot of people, I think a few years ago, MasterCard did a survey where Kenya was one of the places that brought them the most amount of money in its
MasterCard.
tourism. Yeah. It
Wow.
was several years ago they did that, and I remember thinking, you know what, it makes sense because I see it.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Yeah. So it would definitely be much, much easier and much more lucrative back home.
Okay. And how long have you had the business?
Going on 2 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I started, like I said, I wanted to do something for myself, started it on my own, and I'm going on 2 years strong now, and I'm loving every single minute of it.
Okay. And I talk to maybe 80 to 120 business owners, different business owners daily. And so I know I talk to medical spas and things like that. Now, depending on where they're located and how many other spas there are, so I guess that's where the competition will lie, because it has to be centralized in your area. Now, is it very competitive for you? Or what's competition
You
like?
bring up a good point. It usually depends on who's around you. Now, like I said, Canada as a whole is big with little concentration. Now, I'm right in between the Ottawa Gatineau region.
Yeah.
So it's easy for people from Ottawa to come through, and it's easy for people in Gatineau to come through. In my area, per se, where I am right now, there's not that much competition.
Mhm.
It's like, and funny enough, I actually looked into that after I had already started the business, which I know is the backwards way of doing it, but I was just passionate about
Yeah.
starting this, and it was never about who else is providing the service around me, you know.
Exactly.
And also, I come from a background where, like, coming from dentistry into this, there's a dental office in every corner. Take a rock, throw it anywhere, you'll hit one or two dental offices.
Yeah.
They all do pretty much the same for the most part, with a few exceptions here and there, but they're still there. They still get people. This region is growing immensely.
Yeah.
There's when I was looking at the statistics and the population in our area, it has pretty much tripled in size over the last 3 years due to the
Yeah.
pandemic and people being able to work from home.
Yeah.
Now, in my area per se, I think there's only other 4 areas that I would consider myself competing with.
Okay.
And when we are looking equipment wise, I'm competing with the big dogs that are in Ottawa, because
Oh,
my equipment is one of the top out there
yeah.
that
Yeah.
they have.
hmm And
Yeah.
you know what? I'll say this because I mean I do unsecured lending for businesses. So I talk to, again, dental offices and spas, and they're like, oh, I need this new piece of equipment, because from what I from my experience, it's like the companies that make these equipment, they make it so the equipment is obsolete in a few years, right? And there's a new upgrade, and new education packaging, things like that too. And the equipment's expensive, like extremely expensive, right? You may have to take out a mortgage on some of this stuff, right? It's like,
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah. Just one of my machines alone, it's pretty much double my mortgage payments every month.
Oh my goodness. And
But that's where the research comes into play. You have to look into the research and how long the longevity of your equipment is. You know, you don't want to go invest that kind of money into something that you're going to need to be upgrading in 5 years only, because that doesn't really give you the best bang for your buck.
yeah.
So when I look at like my machine for my facial, if there's any upgrades that are done to it, I get sent a USB and I plug it in and it updates the computer.
Oh,
right?
Amazing. Okay.
Exactly. And then because it works on a handpiece basis, my handpieces are the ones that have that lifespan to them.
Yes.
So once for laser and all that, once I've reached a certain amount of sessions, or you can check how many zaps you've given somebody, for to say it in layman's terms. It goes based on the amount of zaps I use, right? So that at that point, I would say, depending on the traffic that you have, then you might have to change the handpiece more frequently.
Yeah.
But there's also companies that do really good. Like the company that I have is, my machine does not depreciate for any less than 50%.
Okay.
Right. So
value.
exactly, these are things that you need to look at. If it's something that I'm going to have to throw away after 5 years, then it's not doing me any good. It doesn't matter how much money it's bringing me right now, because they are expensive. The good machines are in upwards of $200,000.
Wow, that's crazy.
So you don't want to be throwing that out in 5 years, because that's when you're just finishing those payments.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want something that will give you that, and then at least a minimum, I say a minimum of an extra 5 years of where you're not making any payments.
Yeah, because you have to obviously allow the machine to make money for itself too, right?
Precisely.
Yeah. You brought up a really good point. And I know that I asked about competition, but you weren't, it seemed as if when you got into this, you were aware of competition, but you didn't allow it to slow you down. You didn't spend a lot of time thinking about, oh, well, how am I going to compete with these people? Now, I find that's one of the things that kind of slow people down, in terms of like getting into a business is then being intimidated by other competition. So what was it that allowed you to believe that competition wouldn't have been an issue for you?
The life I lead. I've never been one of those people that cared what other people said or did out there. In
Yeah.
all honesty, it's very liberating. It's hard, but it's very liberating.
Mhm.
Once you can close out that outside noise
Yeah.
and be able to focus on what you're doing, that's one
Mhm.
thing. And I do believe that I'm providing a service beyond just the medical aesthetics. I provide an area, a space where my clients come and feel safe, grounded, and heard,
Man,
first and foremost.
that's
And
amazing.
then on top of it, I cater to our Black community
Okay.
because when it comes to a lot of things, we are neglected
Mhm.
in a lot of medical studies. Like we're the last bit to get discovered in there. There's a lot of horror stories out there with Black people going to get laser and they're getting burnt, they're not getting things explained to them, they're just getting the complete opposite end of what they were expecting, and it's expensive. It's not something that's cheap. So I
Mhm.
like to hear people out. I like to understand them. I like to test. Even with my consultation, I do a test patch to see how it affects their skin, if there's any effects. I will not book you immediately. I will do my test patch and then I will let you wait for 24 to 48 hours to see how you react to it, how you feel, and then give you the opportunity to contact me and schedule yourself.
Amazing. Hey, you know what? You bring up these points, and because I was hearing that black skin is different, right? Our skin reacts different. You can't be treated like any other skin type. Someone says that our skin can tend to I don't know if you know about the keloid more because of our skin is almost like the melanin in it. It's like it's active, right?
Yeah.
And it heals faster. That's something that's interesting too. So I mean, if you've got darker skin and you're melanated, and you feel that the spas that you go to don't really cater to your skin type, then I definitely believe that you should check out Mahaba Wellness Services. Now, and I really like what you said though, honestly, in terms about the competition and just kind of putting those blinders on and just concentrating on making a better service. So it's not just the technical part of what you do. But as you mentioned, it's a safe space. It grounds people. And I think talking to you earlier, you said that it's almost like counseling and therapy because people get to relax and kind of unload off you. And you're good at that. You're easy to speak to, right? So that's amazing. Now, what would you say? How did you learn about business? Because I mean, to a certain extent, you have to have some knowledge of how to start a business, how to maintain a business. Was it just kind of like you threw yourself into the water, or did you have some sort of formal education?
Whew. That's a tough one. I have very strong parents. I've watched even my grandparents. I watched them, whatever they did, they dedicated themselves to it and they did it with all their heart and, um, perfected it. So
Mhm.
that's what I come from. I come from a line of very strong and devoted people.
Mhm. Mhm.
Business in general, no, I couldn't say I knew that much about it. But we also live in a time where all the information is at your fingertips.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
I am always open to learning. And as a matter of fact, I've never been able to just stay stagnant in one position.
Mhm.
Like I said before, I come from the dental world and I started out just from assisting and now I'm running compliance and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, in between there, I did office management and I got to see how uh, uh, um, the business side of things went. Now
Mhm.
it's a very different field in some respects, and others it's pretty much the same.
Mhm.
It's about catering to people. My main focus was always the catering to people side.
Yeah.
because I knew whatever it is I do in my life, it has to be with other people involved. I'm not the kind of person who can say, oh, I'm gonna go sit behind a computer and
Mhm.
work in this closed room where I'm not talking to anybody. I'm gonna go crazy. I
Mhm.
talk a lot, so I've always wanted to be in that industry where I'm servicing people, I'm meeting new people every day. That's my way of traveling around the world through other people's eyes.
Mhm.
So it's been that. Before that, I was in bartending. So all of that,
Oh
getting to
wow.
hear how people do things, how people view things. The business side was not going to be a problem because I have a computer, I have good internet, I will figure it out.
Okay, amazing, amazing. I love that. I love the fact that you don't allow anything to kind of slow you down or think, because second guessing yourself is something that I even do, right? I'm super confident, super passionate, but I even sometimes question myself, and I know that a lot of business owners suffer from imposter syndrome and things like that too as well. So I think it's amazing, and I think it's important for people to hear how you just just focus on what it is that you need to do. I also think that I believe that your background, like being a bartender and also working in a dental industry, in a dental office, is exactly what makes you perfect for having a wellness spa, right? Because you have that procedural, right, background too as well, where it's patient, it's medical, everything is sterilized. You sit down and you're very you're skilled in what you do. But that the bartender is, and I'm not just saying you're a bartender, but people who've been in bars as a bartender, they're able to just relate to anyone, right?
Mhm.
It's a nuance. It's the barkeep. It's the person that they can give you almost a solution. You have a problem, you come down, you have a few beers, and they tell you so. And listening, right? Listening is the most important part too as well. So both those things, it proves that this is why you're good at what you do. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, I mean, I do lending, so I want to know how did you finance your business?
Out of pocket savings.
Bootstrap.
Savings.
Wow, wow.
Because initially I started looking, and it is really hard to get lending as a startup. And the no as much as I said before, we have information at our fingertips. I do believe when it comes to certain aspects, for instance lending in this case, they make it so hard for you that it discourages you from even trying. Or even if you start the process and start trying, it delays you from starting what you need to start.
Mhm,
And unfortunately for me, I don't like being delayed, because then it makes me stop thinking about what I wanted to do. I
mhm.
need to do things when I'm in the heat of it, when it's most passionate and most fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
So I tried and I was not successful. So I just depleted my savings.
Mhm, mhm. And I mean, wow. So that's bootstrapping. That's self-financing, and the one, I mean, good thing about that is that proves that you're all in, right? It's
Mhm.
easy to take other people's money and to fail with it, but you are more invested in not failing when it is your money. But I mean, you've been able to build what you built so far with it. And I can only imagine, because the equipment is so expensive. We're talking six figures. And then, there's ongoing costs. I mean, the one thing about business is that it's always going to require money, to expand. And I mean, if this business, is this all that you do? Or are there other aspects of your life that,
Believe it or not, it's not all that I do. I still work full time in the dental industry in the
oh,
compliance
wow.
department.
Okay.
For instance, the last 2 weeks, I had a few days where I'd taken up a contract with a different dental office that I used to work at a long time ago, consulting and just doing up their manuals and updating everything and training staff. So I have different avenues for where I get my money from, and it's not easy when you're trying to balance home life, being a
Yeah.
mother, um, working full time, having a business. Because everyone who started a business knows it's not what you used to think before. Before you used to think, I'm gonna quit my 9 to 5, I'm gonna start a business, I'm gonna
Yeah.
work whenever I want to, do whatever I want to do. No, you're enslaved to it at the
Yeah.
beginning.
It's true.
So I have a full-time job, and I'm very grateful that
Yeah.
it allows me that flexibility to be able to um work in my business as well and train people to help me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
do a lot.
yeah, no, I can imagine. And that is a special skill too, as well. Working full time and then working on your business, because everybody has to make that jump between, financing your business, and then when your business starts to require more of your time, it takes time away from your actual job. So it gets to a point when people are making that transition that one thing is suffering, and you sometimes you can't fully make that jump, but you have to finance your business too as well, right? So I mean, it's admirable that you're working full time. So I mean, this business is robust. I mean, for the most part, I look at what you offer, and I've actually seen pictures of your business. So I know that this isn't just some side hustle. This is an actual
Oh
legitimate.
no, I'm all in, all in.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, when you said that, for startups, I can relate to that because I mean, I would say 30 or 40% of the applications that we get are for people who haven't even registered, and are people who registered and haven't doesn't have a business bank account, and they're looking for financing in the beginning, right? So we're trying to figure out ways to do that. I know that a lot of organizations offer grants and things like that too as well. But again, like you said, it's a process and it takes a long time. And there really should be some services out there for businesses out there, that want to start up and do things. But I'm glad that you were able to bootstrap and bring yourself to where you are right now. Now, in terms of other people wanting to say, like people watching right now who either have a spa, or a wellness services, what can you do in terms of like what kind of advice can you give them?
Honestly, I would say research is most important when when in such a field, because it's not something where, like you said, the machines, they expire per se.
Yeah.
They expire after a certain period of time. You need to know that you're the kind of person who's going to be devoted to servicing people, because that is the job. It is
Mm.
service. It's a service industry. And that's where you're getting your bread and butter from, is
Mhm.
other people walking in through your door. If you're not someone who's, say, if you're an introvert that doesn't want to talk to anybody, you just want to be in the back room and work, it might not be the best thing to do, because you might end up hating it at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
My best advice is do your research at first. You
Mhm.
want to do your research. You want to know what kind of equipment you want to get into. You want to look at the clientele that you're looking for. Who's your perfect client? What do
Mhm.
you want to provide for them? What is going to help you stand out from the competition?
Mhm.
Like there's plenty of spas out there. There's plenty of medical aesthetic spas. But what's going to make you stand out and pull somebody from over there to come to you?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that the equipment that you're using is top notch. You want to make sure you're fully insured, because there are people who,
Yeah.
unfortunately for us, they come in there just for the sole purpose of coming to throw a lawsuit at you.
Wow.
You want to make sure that you stand your grounds, you stand your beliefs, stay true to it, because it does get hard. It gets hard to the point where you ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why, when you sit down and really look at it, why am I doing this? So you need to know that you can weather those storms when they do come in, and like you said, bootstrap and
Yeah.
carry on, because there's no other choice when you're all in.
Yeah.
So you want to make it easier for yourself. So the research is where that comes into play.
Yeah. Okay. So I have to address that part. Why am I doing this? So yeah, thank you for that. That's extremely insightful. Yeah, every business owner at some point, and if you believe that this isn't going to happen to you, you're sadly mistaken. You will get to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Oh my gosh, and they're like, this can't be happening. So there's a lot of ups and downs, because there's times you're like, oh my gosh, thank you, like this is amazing. I'm so happy I did this. Especially when people tell you that, like your clients, when they show you like they really appreciate your services and they're so happy you're there, and you realize, what, God put me on this earth to do this, right? And then you have those days where it's like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Sometimes I just want a job, just work full time. But as entrepreneurs, we chose this life, and we have to just kind of be resilient to the ups and downs of it. Now, you seems like you take on a lot. Like, I mean, anybody, again, so Mahaba Wellness Services.com. For anybody watching, and if you look on the website, you'll see that she does offer a lot of different services. Now, you work full time. You have this now. You have employees, or
I do. I have part-time help from time to time,
yeah.
depending on the schedule and all that, because it's contract work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do have that help. And it works out great. It really does. But sometimes for me, I find it's the finding somebody that will still cater to my clientele in the same manner that I will.
Yeah.
Because it's service. You want to find someone that provides that service and cares for your people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
It's not something that you just come in one and done. I don't have any client that has ever come in one and done. Even the ones who started out, oh, I'm just gonna get a quick teeth whitening and then I'm off. I don't have those. It's a
Yeah.
repeat business. So you want to create that familial relationship with them. Where I once had a client who was done all her sessions. She was doing body contouring, and she told me, and she drives about an hour to get here.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, Moureen, I don't even feel like I'm coming to a business. I feel like I'm coming to see a friend.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's how I feel when I come to see you.
Yeah.
So that's what I want. So anybody who joins me in this venture should be able to provide that same level of care, because that is what makes my place stand out.
Yeah. And well, how do you guarantee that? Because I mean, I went through it, my first retail store. I was 19, and I hired a few people, and how they come in, and when they say, "Oh, I want a job, and I'm amazing, and I'll do this for you, and I'm the greatest employee you'll ever have," compared to what happens after, sometimes is night and day, right? So how have you been able to kind of mitigate that and bring on the right people and train them and just make sure that they honor your values?
So for the right person, for me, I would be the first client. I would sit there
Oh,
and you would tell me, let's go through a consultation. Let's go through a
okay.
consultation together. And it's not just something that you come and throw yourself into this training that is involved, right? So you can see somebody's train of thought. You can see how they're going to act. There's only so long that you can hold a lie.
Yeah.
I can say I'm wonderful at this, that, and the other, but if I'm really not and I'm not there, you'll see it in my work. Right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things whereby you just and I come from management side of things, where I've done a lot of hiring, a lot of training, a lot of firing, unfortunately. So I have the eye for it.
Okay. And what about imperfections? Like we all want the perfect person, but we all have to accept that not everybody's perfect, and we have to kind of work with what we get or whatnot. So how do you deal with people who are imperfect or have something that isn't like how do you do? What is your how do you deal with that?
None of us are perfect. None of us. If I say I'm perfect, I'm lying, and I'm the biggest liar on earth. However, I do believe it with any relationship, be it business, be it friendship, romantic, you find the pieces that fit. We're all just a bunch of broken glass. You just find the pieces that fit.
Yeah.
And then the rest, as long as someone is willing to learn, willing to put in that work, then you go with it. And when you make mistakes, I make plenty of mistakes. I make plenty of mistakes, and sometimes I'll own up to it, and I'll be the first one to call my clients and tell them, listen, I made a mistake when we were doing something during your last session. Do you mind coming back in? Let me fix it and let's discuss it.
Wow.
And that's what builds that loyalty with my clientele. We're talking about laser here, and our skin does have adverse reactions to that depending on what people do. I'll have clients sometimes call me and say, oh, Moureen, I got a little bit of erosion, or I got some crustation here, and we'll talk about it. I've already discussed it during the consultation that this is a possibility. I've already discussed what we need to do to fix that or prevent it. So there's that level of trust and honesty.
Yeah. Okay. That's amazing. And you know what? I just want to take the time. We're going to come back, but we have to take a quick word from our sponsors because we got to pay the bills, right? So So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be back in a few minutes. We're gonna go to a commercial break, and I'm here with Moureen from Mahaba Wellness Services. Go check it out, mahabawellnessservices.com, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Every day? Dread those days at the salon waiting for your painful, messy wax? Have you thought about getting laser hair removal but are too scared due to possible pain, discomfort, high costs, and lack of results? Introducing SharpLight's revolutionary technology, which offers a pain-free, fast, and reliable way to get rid of your noticeable unwanted hair. SharpLight's hair removal technology offers a wide range of benefits, ensuring you never have to use that razor again. Some of these benefits include pain-free treatments, ability to treat suntan skin, fast, effective, and lasting results, available for all skin types, cost-effective, customized treatments using our comfortable dynamic pulse control technology, and so much more. The best you is a hair-free you. Ask about our SharpLight laser hair removal treatments today and be hair-free all year round.
Ottawa's Black Business Alliance, a place where you can learn to be your own person and build the future you want for yourself. Our mission is to help young entrepreneurs achieve their business goals through the best coaching, managing, consulting, and a slew of other services. Together, we can become a pillar in the Afro-Canadian community. Don't hesitate to contact us through our website at www.oba.ca, and remember that building tomorrow starts today. Oba Consulting. Take hold of your future.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. That was interesting. That promo video there, the first one there, it was almost kind of relatable to Mahaba Wellness. Again, yes, my name is Grantley Othniel Adams, and I am the host. I'm also the president of Live Lending Group, Canada's premier digital platform for commercial lending, unsecured commercial loans. So you can check us out at lyvelending.com. We're on social media, live.lending on there it is. And I want to just give a big shout out to BIA Media for producing this and giving us a platform for us to discuss and come together and network. And again, we're here with the Empress of Wellness. Okay. Her name is Moureen, right? Moureen Ambwala.
Right? Yes, Moureen Ambwala.
Man, I love it. Okay, so what we're talking about her business, and we're talking about financing, and the things that you have to do. But I think the last thing we spoke about were employees. So I actually just learned something from you, and I love that. When you brought people on, you were the client, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, I do kind of like that in my industry where we do like a role playing because, there's a big sales aspect to it. But I think that is probably the most important part because now you get to see it through the eyes of a client. So that's really, really, really good. A really good technique there. Now, I have to ask too, because I know when we talked about those days where we say, oh man, what have I done? But, to make it even more healthy, like what did you wish you knew before you got into the industry?
Ooh, what did I wish I knew? How hard lending would be. Let's start there. Getting that financing.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh man.
Let's start there. And again, people think, okay, we're going to start a business. I'm going to be running it. Things are going to go great.
Yeah.
I don't think I gave myself enough time when I was doing my business plan, like how long it will take before I actually get to that point where I'm completely supplementing my full-time job paying the bills, the business and everything, and then some. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So things like that were hard. And then there's, of course, the sleepless nights because you're sitting there and worrying about, it's a baby. It's a child that is growing. And unfortunately, this one does not grow as fast as a regular child. Sometimes, not all the times. There's aspects of it that'll go fast. There's aspects of it that'll slow down, and you're always constantly worrying to the point where, okay, can I leave and take a small vacation and do something for myself? Can I actually not take any clients this weekend and do something else? You worry about small details like that. So those are the things I wish I knew before I started. Not that it would have changed anything per se. I still would have done it, but I would have reworked my business plan and my mental state at the beginning.
Yeah. You're 100% right. I wish I knew that. My first business was when I was 19. I opened up a retail store. But yeah, financing is probably one of those things that you definitely have to kind of figure out before you take it. Or you're going to find yourself in a position where you make it to a certain point and now it requires money and you're kind of scrambling to kind of find it. And sometimes you get to that point where it's the point of no return, where you've invested so much already that now there's no other choice but to find whatever it is that you need in terms of financing and resources, right? The thing about the whole lending part of it, I mean, I'm a broker. I work with different lenders, financial technology companies, and we can get money within 24 hours. And our criteria is I'll say this: we complement the banks as an alternative. I don't want to say anything about them. The banks they're there, and to a certain extent, businesses are hard to finance, right? Personal lending is easier because you have someone that works a job. They get paid every 2 weeks the same amount, and if they've had the job for a year or two, then statistically speaking, they're most likely going to have the ability to pay for a year, unless something adverse happens. So and our financial institutions are there to make money. They're businesses too as well, and so mitigate risk by not wanting to take any risk, right? So you'll see that they won't work with businesses. The traditional financial institutions won't work with businesses that have been, operating less than 2 years. They want to see profitability, right? And just like the name of the business, what I call a black business is a business that's profitable. Being in the black is just alludes to profitability, right? Yeah, they don't want to lose, so they only want to bet on things that they know are going to win. And so this kind of created a niche in our industry where it allowed my lenders that are financial technology to be able to use data and technology to be able to determine where the risk is. So we can work with businesses that are 6 months old, but one of our thresholds that I find is most challenging is that people have to be grossing 10K month in terms of deposits. And a lot of people would say, oh, if I'm grossing $10,000 a month, then I don't need you guys. But I mean, 10,000 is just the start of it, right? That's the minimum, because when you think about it, for the most part, it's about 1,500, 2,000. So yeah, you're right. It is financing is the hardest part, and I think for a lot of my clients, one of the things I notice for certain groups of people, they have this ability to say, oh, well, I can just get money from back home, right? And I've seen, there are some very identifiable groups that can say things like that. But I haven't seen a lot of people, let's say in our community, that can say that, so I think that we're, to the most part, we have to bootstrap, we have to work the full time, we have to, we have to kind of like use our savings to be able to do that. So you're right. I think every business owner needs to kind of consider where they're going to get the money to operate. Will start, because it's always going to cost you more, and then to keep things going too as well. So that's really, honestly, I appreciate that insight. I think that everyone listening now really needs to kind of take that serious. Your business plan is one part, but that doesn't guarantee that you're going to be able to get financing. I know that through these organizations, we're starting to kind of like, help each other. But still, yeah, financing is definitely going to be one of those most important things that you need to figure out when you start a business, for sure. So yeah. Now, I was gonna ask you if you would ever go back to working full time, but you do work full time. Now
I'm still there. There.
So when do you think that you're gonna make that transition to being, do you think it's ever gonna happen?
Oh, of course, and soon. I can't tell you when soon is, but definitely very soon. We'd be getting into that transitioning phase. Yeah. It's just a matter of logistics.
Yeah.
Because I like to be planned. I like to plan ahead and try, and I always plan for the worst. I always plan for the worst, and then I sit there and hope for the best. So when I get to that point where my worst is already pre-planned and I have my contingencies for that, then I'll know it's the right time for me to transition.
Okay, amazing. And you said very soon, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I can't wait to see that. And maybe come in for a facial or some laser hair removal because
Of course, come through.
well, you know what? I should make that a guy thing. I think we should, because I mean, me and the boys, we like to go out and stuff like that. But why not? Why can't us guys have a spa day?
You know what? I do have a couple of husbands, like their wives will come in on their days to do their treatments, and then the husbands will come in on a separate day.
Really? So it's like a group of dudes?
Yeah, 3 of them will come in at a time, and they'll just do that, and then they'll go out to eat or go out for drinks.
Really?
Yeah, I have guys that do laser. I have guys that come in for facials. You know, it's not just. There's this thing where guys think it's a woman thing. It's a woman thing.
Yeah.
But guys have skin too.
Exactly.
Your skin has needs too. So.
And are you seeing an increase in that, in men coming in for things like that, being more comfortable?
Their wives push them. A lot of them, their wives will be like, you know what? And that's how it starts for guys. I have very few guys who just came in on their own. They're like, I don't want this hair. I want it gone. I'm tired of going to ask my wife to shave my back or going to the barber and having him line up my neck, the back of my neck. Just get rid of it. I have few of those. But then I have those ones where it's like, okay, the wives came in. They're like, you know what? I'm going to buy my husband a facial for his birthday. Okay. And the 3 guys that I'm talking about, that's how it started. It was the wives just said, oh, I'm going to buy this for my husband. And the 2 of them came in, brought their friend, and there we go.
Amazing. And so I know, and so that's great. I want to find out more too, like, because we have ups and downs in our business, and we spoke about that. Can you tell me what some of your most memorable moments were for your business and through your journey?
Reconstructing my area that I have right now to make it homey. So it doesn't just encompass the spa side of things, but I have a little touch of back home in there with the portraits, with the pillows, the accents that I have in there. So that was doing that. I remember not too long ago, I sat and I looked at the before and after pictures, because I find with growth in anything, we tend to forget where we came from. We just keep pressuring ourselves with where we need to be. And we don't stop to think that the place we're unhappy with right now is the place we were longing to be in 2 years ago. We don't stop to think about that. And I always tend to tell people you need to really stop every now and then and pat yourself on the shoulder for being where you are, for having accomplished all of that.
Yes.
Then project forward and continue on. So those are some of my memorable moments, just painting, changing things around, and having clients come in and say, oh my God, this is new, this is great. And like I said, I like talking, so my consultations are usually the best. There was one weekend where I had nothing but consultations, and I talked to people from all walks of life, different continents, different personality, different everything. And I remember I was tired as hell at the end of that day. I was at the end of the weekend. Sorry, I didn't really get a weekend that month, but I was sitting there and I was just thinking about how much I truly love what I do.
Amazing.
And then the last one that I had, that was just one of also the best moments. We had our first Black Business Expo in Ottawa.
Oh, I was there.
Back in,
Was I there?
At the Tudor Hall.
I believe so. They had food there. Well, I always remember the food, but there were like different. Oh, I think okay. So you know what's funny enough? I still have all the flyers from that weekend. But okay, so that, you know what? I think I understand why you say that was the most memorable, because the turnout was ridiculous.
It was a Sunday.
Yeah.
It was if I remember correctly, we didn't really have the best weather that day either. It was cold and windy, but what was the best part of it was just seeing all these black people, black folks
Yeah,
with businesses, and majority of them being women was an even bigger, you know, it just made me feel great. And we were all there was music, there was
yeah,
food, people were happy. We're a happy people, we're a
yeah,
happy
yeah,
people, we bring that life,
yeah,
we
yeah,
bring life into anything that we're in.
yeah, yeah.
So it was, I remember before I even started, I was by myself that day.
Mm,
And before I even started, I was walking around and just talking to everybody and collecting
mm,
cards and, things like that. And I was filled with so much joy that day that it, it was one of the best things ever. I'm really hoping they're going to continue um, doing those,
yeah.
because I was at the women's show earlier that month,
Okay.
and it's a different vibe. It's great. Sure, it was busy. The turnout was great, but it's a different vibe than when it was just all black folks.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not a racist or anything. I'm not opposed to any race that we have here. I love every single person. But this is the first time I've been to an all black event that was just promoting black businesses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was amazing.
Yeah, and I felt the same exact way. I know I was invited to have a little bit of a booth, but I mean, other than we're just loans and unsecured loans, I wasn't sure if it made sense. But when I went there, I wish I did.
Oh yeah.
It was packed. Was that singer there, Jessie? She does the compa music, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
she
it was
was.
like, it was amazing. So no, I got the same feeling of pride, and it's important. I think the most important thing for me, we're seeing the younger generation and them seeing examples of people, in business and seeing successful people in business too. Because I think for young black children, I think that there are enough messages coming from different corners and different directions. And a lot of young people are very impressionable, and they need examples. So I think that was that was probably one of my better memorable moments too in business. So I'm glad you were there. I'm pretty sure, because I took cards from everybody. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Now I know that when you talked about one of your memorable moments is having to redo and having pictures there, and I guess that kind of, because I was going to ask you what kind of keeps you going. So, having those pictures there, I guess you draw inspiration from, and that's kind of like.
Yeah, I look back every now and then, it's one of those throwback moments, and you see, oh wow, 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 you've really come far. You've actually come far, because like I said before, we get so overwhelmed with where we need to be or where we thought we were going to be at this point, and we feel like we're failing, that we forget we have already come far as is.
Yeah.
So that is part of it. And then I have great friends out there who also, I have friends that I call them right now. They're coming in, they're like, okay, where are the pens? Where's the paper? Let's write down what we need to do. What can we do? Let's advertise. I have a friend of mine she took my cards and she was going to restaurants and just pinning them up. And I remember her calling me one day and going, somebody had the audacity to put their promo on top of yours, so I had to move it. So
Wow.
that's what gives me strength. And not only that, is just I look at my daughter. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I want her to know that whatever she does put her mind to, whatever she sets her mind to, she can do it. And the only way she'll know that is by watching me. I watched my mom be superwoman for most of my life. And, we didn't really have a 9 to 5. She pretty much worked all around it, and she was a single mom, but she still provided for me. And she was there at every single event that I had, everything. So growing up, I remember my grade 2 essay. Don't ask me why I remember what I did in grade 2. I remember what I did when I was 4 years old. But I wrote an essay. They had asked us to write a composition, about who your favorite superhero was. And everyone was there talking about Batman, Superman, this, that, and the other. Mine was always my mom. It's always been my mom, because I watched her do everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I need my daughter growing to grow up seeing that
Mhm.
and knowing that it's hard, it's not easy, it is hard, but as long as you're true to it and you're true to yourself, it does work out. You can do it.
That's amazing. And I wanted to that really is inspirational too, because you drew your inspiration from seeing your mom, and then you almost transfer that into having to be an inspiration for your own daughter too as well. So it's like generational. So that's amazing. I love that. And now, where do you see your business? Where do you see yourself in 5 years with the business?
Oh, in 5 years, I'm definitely gonna be in that point where, okay, I'm doing whatever I want
Mm,
and
okay.
moving around. However,
Mhm.
whatever I want to do is always talking to people. So I'll probably be expanding
Yeah.
and franchising out if possible. And
Franchise. Okay.
I haven't completely closed the doors in opening this same kind of business back home.
Okay, okay. That's a totally different. I would love that to be another episode, because on my side, the lending side and financial technology, back home, you said you're Kenyan. I know Kenya and Nigeria, and there's a few other countries out there that are in the forefront of financial technology and open banking and things like that. And I've been wanting to connect with them. So I think that if we were to connect with them in terms of the economics and things like that, that we would definitely inadvertently be able to create our own kind of business hub, and kind of like a tourist, maybe even a kibbutz, something like that.
Of
So yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah. So 5 years, you want to be able to franchise. Okay, so that's amazing, and that's I guess where you'd yeah, that would definitely work. So you want to be all over Canada too as well.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Now, what do you think? What type of businesses do you want to connect with? What types of businesses would you want to connect with?
Whew. Quite a lot because I like to learn, and I there's some things like when it comes to things like web design, I see these people working some magic on computers, and
Mm,
it's like I look at my laptop, I do my finances on there, I go online,
yeah.
I set my schedule on there, but there's a whole other world of things that can be done on there. So, uh, media marketing, um, web development services, other people in my industry, so that I can talk to them about um, what what hardships they faced, how they overcame, they overcome it, because it's continuous. It doesn't matter how much money you make, or there's still hardships that you still have to overcome. The
Yeah.
bigger you grow, the more you make. There's
Mm,
always something.
yeah.
So I'd like to connect with other people in my business. Um,
Mm,
uh, marketing is a big one. Yeah.
that's amazing. I like the fact that you have such a collaborative spirit, and I think that is it's juxtaposed to the competitive spirit. And I mean, I like friendly competition, but being collaborative is really important, because I work with other brokers too as well, and other lenders, and and some of the people that I would say consider my competition. But when you find someone who's like minded, you can really build with those people too as well, right? So I think that's really important, and as well as web design and marketing too, because I think that's important. Yeah,
Another good one would be skincare. People that companies that provide skincare products,
yeah.
because that works hand in hand, and it would complement my services.
Okay, okay. And now I wanted to talk to. Do you have a mentor?
No,
And
I do not at the moment, and I am open to getting mentors. And like I was saying before, I'd like to talk to other people who've gone through this, people who understand this side of business and are willing to teach and offer some guidance and, knowledge.
okay. And have you been mentoring other people?
I have. There's some people who are looking to start up, and just not some of them is not even related to my industry, but people believe I have a certain insight to things. So
Yeah,
if
you do
when people
actually.
have that question, I answer them. And if I can save somebody X amount of hours or time or money, I
Mhm.
would love to do that. I would love to do that because it does take time, it does take money, it does take a lot of sleepless nights. But if I can, just a few words here and there save somebody all that, I think it's definitely worth it, and I'm very open.
But honestly, Maureen, it's amazing talking to a business owner like you, who's just open, and it seems like you're just so well established and grounded, and you're so focused and passionate. I mean, you are our first guest on the show In the Black, and we're just getting black to business. This is the first podcast, and I really appreciate you being on the show and being here to, you know, inspire the younger generation and give them insight and just talking to me and us having this conversation. I know it's empowering for everyone watching. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. And I'd love for you to be on the show again at some other point. And again, so everybody watching, please check out Moureen, and she's in the Outaouais area for Mahaba Wellness Services. And yeah, give her a call. And I think the information is going to be scrolling across the bottom. And yeah, check out her website. You can book a free consultation, and she does a lot of different things. Check out the website, and I'm just happy to have her here. And again, my name is Grantley Othniel Adams from Live Lending Group. Another shout out to BIA Media for helping and giving us a platform and producing this show. And we are going to be live every Wednesday from 5 to 6. We did go over time, but you know me, I can talk about business and business owners all day. So again, check me out, LYVE Lending, livelending.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check out our TikToks too. And I'll see you guys next week, Wednesday.
Tired of waxing, plucking and pulling those unwanted hairs? Are you looking for professional, local laser hair removal? If so, you've come to the right place. At Mahaba Wellness Services, we're proud to be the premier local laser hair removal service in Gatineau, and customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Whether you're looking to get hair removed on your brows, face, back, or anywhere else, our laser hair removal technicians can do it all. We offer the most modern pain-free equipment, and many customers can get treated in just a few sessions. So contact us now, book a free consultation, and find out why so many local customers come to us for all of their laser hair removal needs.